We are extremely excited to be able to give you this seminar this evening. One of the things that's important to us at She Became is that we provide all of our participants and women in our 209 community, that we provide you with as much information as we can so that you can go on and do some of the things that you want to do in life. We do that from an aspect of helping with your personal development growth, but we also want to make sure that we're giving you opportunities to grow from a professional aspect as well, which is why we're so excited about the workHER seminars that we have for you. Tonight, I'm really happy about this particular topic. One of the things that's such a misconception right now is that people honestly believe that because of where we're at, kind of as a country as a whole, with this whole COVID thing going on, is that there's this hiring freeze, or that people are not still looking at professional growth opportunities, or people are not still having the opportunity to move forward in your careers, or to develop a career of some sort, or to do something as simple as finding a job to supplement your income for those of you who are students. And we want to just tell you that people are still hiring. They're still looking for people just like you. And really, they haven't changed the process. Our mindset has changed, right? Because like I said before, we're thinking that everything is shut down, and that's not the case. So this evening, you're going to learn, you're going to get some really helpful tips. We've got a wonderful video from one of our guest speakers. So you're going to get some helpful tips on what the industries are looking for and how to reset your mind to how you're going to pursue your job search. We're also going to learn about entrepreneurship a little bit. Maybe you've got some great ideas. Maybe you want a side hustle. So we've got somebody that's going to present to you there. And we've also got some people that are currently in the industry that you're going to be able to ask questions as to what is it that maybe they're looking for. So we just want to make sure that we provide you with the most opportunities to learn and to help you to continue to build on your professional goals. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to jump into our presenter, who is going to be talking about, her subject matter is reset, an opportunity to shift your job search approach during COVID. And I think this is going to be really helpful for what we were talking about earlier. What are employers looking at? And whereas we may not be able to know exactly what employers are looking at, we can definitely say where our mindsets are when it comes to our own job search strategies, okay?
Hey everybody, my name is Nicole Eddlemon, and I am feeling super excited and thankful to be here with you guys for just a little bit today. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling really inspired, so let's get to it. I'm gonna pop up my PowerPoint and we will get started. Alrighty guys, so the name of the game is Reset today. So we are having this great opportunity right now to shift our job search approach during COVID, but we also have this really amazing opportunity right now to reset our mindset, the way that we are showing up for ourselves and how we are looking for employment. So those of you guys who know me know that I am not somebody who likes to skim the surface of anything. So today, get ready because we are digging deep and we are going to put in some work. So think about it. If money was no object, what would you want to do and who would you want to be? The good news is,
oh no.
Because I want you all to be propelled into the future and into your present life by your passion. What motivates you, what drives you personally. So we have over 70,000 thoughts per day. That's mind-blowing, right? But 98% of these bad boys are repeating, constant, looping around over and over again, okay? And so a lot of that is the inner dialogue that we are telling ourselves. What are we telling ourselves? We have this constant influence of TV, social media, our friends, our family members telling us what our story is, who we should be, what we should be doing with our lives. We are letting all of this impact us. And so for all of us, we need to learn that these are merely stories, okay? This is not our truth that we are speaking into the world. And so, especially when we have something new coming up or we are moving ourselves into uncharted territory, this inner dialogue speaks even louder. And we can call it, whatever we want. Sometimes it's your ego in your ear telling you that you're not good enough, or you're not skilled enough, you're not educated enough, you don't have people skills, what have you, right? But we need to know that these are just stories that we tell ourselves. Let's get rid of all the stories because we want to live in our truth. So right now, guys, is the perfect time to live in the re, because the re is real. Never have we ever had the moment to actually press that pause button like we have right now. We have the ability with COVID to slow down. We have been living in autopilot for so long. And guess what, guys? We are not going back. The re is real right now. So take this opportunity, okay, to rethink, reinvent, recharge yourself, reimagine what life could be for yourself. Think out of that box. Regain control in those areas that you feel are lacking. Reestablish who you are. Maybe you are wanting to move into a different career field or go back to school. Now's the time to learn new skills for yourself. Boost yourself up and re-empower, guys. This is so important because we have to pour back into ourselves. Remember, when we were in autopilot, we didn't have an opportunity to pour into ourselves because we were doing everything for sometimes other people and forgetting about who we are and what we need to propel ourselves forward. Take this opportunity to slow down and re-examine yourself. Get in there and think about what is going to make you re-empowered and recharged. Okay, so the good news is we still got that foundation going on, okay? Employers are still looking for you and your skill set and what you bring to the table, okay? And so while things are still the same, we are over here changing up our mindset in terms of how to look for work and how we are showing up in that process, okay? So first and foremost, I want to kind of explain to you and lay it out on the table. Us as humans, we often like things in a process. We like to hurry up, check off the boxes, say that we completed things because we're awesome like that, right? But not today, guys. Not today. We're not doing that anymore because we are going to be purposeful. We are going to be intentional. And we're still going to follow that process, but we're going to do what we need to do to get out of it what we want for ourselves, okay? So this is the foundation that we know, we love, a lot of us are used to. So I'm going to go over this really quick with y'all. So first and foremost, we are researching the company. You guys are looking for employment, you're reading over those job descriptions. You are going on Google and finding out what's important about this company. But then you have to decide, does this company, does this business align with your own values? Is this something that you can stand for? And what do you stand for? Again, you are going to tailor your cover letter. And you are going to speak to the employer and let them know who you are as a professional. And a cover letter is really cool in that you can create it in a story-like format. So this is not like your resume where you're just going to list all of your skills and your background and your education. You get to tell the story and really paint the picture for the employer, what you can bring to the table, what you can do for that company. Okay? Always update your resume. And those of us who are currently employed, we got to put that on the back burner. But it's so important because, especially right now, you don't know who you are going to run into. You don't know what doors are suddenly going to open. And if you don't have your resume up to speed, you may miss out on an opportunity. You want to make sure that you are good to go. You have everything in line, all your ducks in a row, because doors open all the time. And please believe that these doors open and not on our own schedule, okay? Contact your references. And now is the most important time to keep in contact with people that you worked for in the past, your coworkers, because you don't always know where they're at either. And sometimes they've moved into other businesses, other situations that could also be an opportunity for you. But let them know, have these conversations that you too are looking for work and that employers may be contacting them to receive a reference from them, okay? And then finally apply, okay? After you have done all your research and everything lines up for you, go ahead and apply. And so again, this is a foundation. This is what we're used to. And we are moving forward just a little bit now, okay? Get ready. All right, new normal, who is this, right? We are not used to this new normal. This is something completely different that we've never experienced before. So it is super important, guys, get out of that box. Nobody deserves to live in this box, okay? I want it to be like, whoa. I want it to shake you. I want it to feel so uncomfortable. I want your ego back in your ears saying, whoa, what are we doing? This is unsafe. This is uncharted territory. I don't like this feeling, okay? But just for a little bit, we're gonna recognize that ego over here in our ear, and we're gonna say, it's okay, I got this. So we are getting out of that box that we do not belong in, okay? Be patient. Most of all, be patient with yourself. So one of the things that I see and that I've experienced myself, because I'm no different, right? I'm still human with all of you guys. Be patient with yourself. We have this standard for ourselves, but we're in a new normal. We can't keep ourselves or hold ourselves to this standard that we had before. And remember, guys, the new normal is here to stay. We have found comfort in holding on to what was. And we were in autopilot and when we were just going through the motions. And we find comfort in thinking about, oh, when things go back to normal, when they go back to normal. But listen to how that sounds. Why would we go backwards with anything in life? We don't go backwards, we go forward. Okay? So not only do we need to be patient with ourselves, we need to be patient with the community, people around us, employers. Employers are still trying to find their footing as well. We are all in this together. Literally, nobody has ever experienced this before. So we are trying to learn how to approach employers, what that's going to look like for us, trying to deal with us getting outside of our box and feeling really uncomfortable. And employers are trying to figure out, how do we reach possible employees? How do we interview via Zoom? Guys, I am still learning how to use Zoom, okay? And it does feel uncomfortable sometimes. So we are all learning. This is a humongous learning curve for everybody. Take advantage of technology. This one is huge as well, because never have we ever been able to work or go to school wherever we wanted. I could go right now to Disneyland and be working via Zoom and LinkedIn and the computer and all of that good stuff. Technology has allowed us to literally be anywhere and still do what we used to be doing, what we were doing before in terms of work and schooling. okay? But there's also a lot of new technology out there that is benefiting us. And remember, this is a part of the new direction that we are heading in. So we have LinkedIn, and that is huge for connecting with current employers that are looking for you and your skill set. So brush up on your LinkedIn, polish it up a little bit, make sure it is good to go. But also Indeed. Indeed has stepped it up among all the other technology platforms as well. Indeed actually has a Indeed Live is what they call it, every Monday on Facebook, where they go over topics, different industries, and a whole lot of networking. So that leads me into networking your heart out. And so I've always been a sucker for networking. I've been talking about it for like probably 10 plus years, but now is the time for networking. Networking is the language of now. And so it is so incredibly important because you are going to utilize the circle that you have created for yourself. So especially if you are in school right now, go and talk to your instructors. They are a wealth of knowledge. Talk to your current friends, maybe people you haven't talked to in a while, your acquaintances. Even create a Zoom, a meeting where you guys can talk about your common interests, the direction you guys are going, your goals in life, because again, that is where the doors open. You don't know who knows who. Your friend might have an uncle that is a manager in the industry that you're trying to get into. You don't know. Utilize your technology, utilize your networks, and that too will propel you forward. You need to come together, and even if it's just through technology, it's going to make a huge impact. Alrighty guys, so I am a sucker for leaving you guys with quotes. And I have a special quote that I found for you guys that I felt was really appropriate for our topic today. Challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them. Just find a new way to stand. I gotta love Oprah so much. She's my favorite. She has my heart. So remember, guys, when you are faced with challenges, do not fight them. They are there to teach you something. Alrighty, guys. I would love to hear from you so much. Please email me. I work at the local college in Modesto, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but I am free other than those hours. Please let me know what you thought of this presentation. Go ahead and pick my brain. If you have questions, concerns, you need assistance with finding employment, creating a resume, anything career related, guys, please, you know where to find me. I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, guys.
Nicole's not here. We're still going to say thank you for creating that video and for bringing us that very helpful and insightful information. And listen, just being the person that I am, many of you know that I do professional development training. And everything that Nicole said is huge because it starts in our minds, ladies. One of the things that I say in a lot of my workshops is that the body goes exactly where the head leads it, right? So our minds have to be open to not only receive this information, but to really think about what is it that I'm doing or I'm saying that's preventing me from accomplishing my career goals, right? Why am I constantly, if I have a job that I go to every single day that I absolutely hate, why am I still doing that? What is it that I'm telling myself that's preventing me from having a purpose-filled career? Okay? And you can have that. So I'm excited to transition into the next part of what we're going to do. We have a couple of guests with us, and so they're going to talk to us a little bit about their hiring process, how they have changed it due to COVID.
My name is Jamie, and I'm local to the Central Valley. I've grown up here, left, worked in out of state, and also worked in the East Bay, the North Coast, which is the Napa area, as well as I used to work in sexy Levi Plaza in San Francisco. So I bet most of you don't know who G3 Enterprises is, so I'll quickly share with you, and then you'll go, aha, I get it. So G3 Enterprises actually stands for Gallo Third Generation. So we have used that acronym for many, many years. In fact, I'll give you a little nugget. I used to work at Gallo myself from 2000 to 2007. And then I left the organization because my personal life took me out of the area, and then I came back. But when I worked at Gallo, we referred to all the Gallo family by G1s, G2s, G3s, and now we have even G4s. So G3 essentially is a separate legal entity that's owned by the family. And the way that I best describe it is 50 years ago, Gallo went out to get supplies in the marketplace like wine labels, closures, and transportation services. And because they were so large, they couldn't get what they needed by suppliers in the marketplace. So being the Gallo family, they said, all right, how hard can it be? Let's figure it out ourselves. So we started a core group of businesses. And really, we exist, G3 existed to primarily support Gallo. We now support over 2,000 different wine and beverage customers. So we are a business-to-business company in the supplier space, but we're the largest supplier now in that wine and beverage space. So I'm going to skip, well, I'll just share with you, because I think it's always important. We talked about looking and learning about companies. This is our mission. It's to provide and create integrated solutions in the beverage and ag industry space. So our values, and the reason why this is important, I'm going to touch on this in a few minutes again, but teamwork, agility, value creation, trustworthiness, and customer focus. There are some companies that, especially HR geeks, right? They love to get in a room and talk about core mission and values, but how many companies really use it? I'll actually show you in a daily, on a daily, how the values are used in a few minutes, of course. But just a little bit about our business. We employ, this was as of April, and it was a little over 700 employees. And I'll just share with you here, we've got corporate, closure, our label division, logistics and transportation, real estate, minerals, and sales. Bear with me, I'm just gonna grab my light real fast. So you say minerals, gosh, what do you mean by minerals? Well, I'll talk through kind of quickly each of these divisions because I think it's important to understand how potentially you might have interest in, working for G3. But corporate would be roles like engineering, marketing, finance, and accounting. Closure is one of our manufacturing divisions. This is anything that closes a wine bottle, caps, corks, screw tops, wine labels, of course, logistics. In fact, we have 5 million square feet of warehouse space in Modesto. We have more warehouse space than Amazon. People don't realize it, but it's a massive enterprise. Our real estate division, we actually own a lot of property, including commercial property and even wine holdings and land where we've got crops. And then our minerals division is our sand mine. So you think, gosh, what does sand have to do with the wine industry? Obviously, sand or silica is the raw material for glass, which obviously produces glass bottles. And then, of course, our sales division. I'm going to quickly just let you just eyeball this, but these are some of our customers. Obviously, Gallo's our largest, but you can see many of Gallo's competitors here. So the wine group, Trinchero, Diageo, Treasury Wine, etc. But outside of that, we're also working in the craft and beer industry with a product that's specifically called pertinent keg. It's actually a single serving keg that's actually recyclable. So you don't have to go to a Bevmo to get a keg every time you're looking for a keg, but they're great for special events. And then we have specialty beverage customers, lots of kombucha here, and coffee houses that actually use that keg product that we talked about. All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead because I know I was told I think I have about 10 minutes. So I wanted to talk about just from a hiring perspective. Let me just give you guys some numbers. So I worked at Gallo for 7 years, and I had a few different roles, but one of those was the recruiting manager. I left the company. I actually worked for some of Gallo's competitors. So I actually spread my wings, my personal life took me out of the area, and I knew at that time that I had an interest in kind of going deep in the adult beverage industry as well as consumer products. So I worked for companies like Clorox. I worked for Campari in San Francisco. I worked for Treasury Wine Estates in Napa. I actually worked for Safeway in Pleasanton before they were sold. Lots of our competitors, but I grew what I call my toolbox. So there were lots of things I didn't know when I worked at Gallo. It was kind of my first big corporate job. I had some experience prior to that, but I didn't have experience at that scale. So not that we like to reward people for leaving, but in this case, it actually, worked for me in my career. But this year so far, and remember, if you remember that head count, we have about 700 employees. I have hired, and I'm kind of a one-man band right now. Gallo has a team of 35 in their talent acquisition department. We have a team of 3 in mine. So Gallo has 7,000 employees. We have a little over 700. But year to date, I have hired, as of July 31st, 198 people. We are not slowing down. And we've got opportunities in all of those channels that we talked about earlier. So I don't know all of your backgrounds, of course, but lots of opportunities in each of those channels. So let me just kind of quickly touch base on how has the job search changed during COVID. The one thing I wanted to highlight here is around the video interview. So what's been really tough is that we, as much as you as a job seeker may not be super comfortable with a video interview, you know what? Our hiring managers aren't comfortable either. Like, they're used to seeing people in person, developing that connection with you in person. So it's been really tough on them. So just really quickly, we have probably, I did a quick, I'm going to take a wild estimate right now because I actually had our HR admin track them early on, but we have scheduled over 300 video interviews since like March 20th. I mean, that's a massive number of video interviews. And we've had to quickly get our teams engaged with, how do they conduct an interview and what are best practices and should we do it as a team and how do we make the candidates feel comfortable? Because we are, we've got different levels of populations of employees or, candidates. So we've got forklift drivers and operators that we would call them, in those traditional types of roles. They've never had a video interview in the past, probably never in their history. And then accountants or finance analysts or a marketing role or an engineer or transportation planners, these tend to be candidates that might be more technically savvy with technology, so they've been more comfortable. But we've had all levels where we've had to transition. So just a couple of things here in terms of what's important. Try to create a connection and be authentic. I think the most important thing that I would tell you from somebody who interviews so many people is to be authentic. And I always say sometimes is it doesn't hurt to make a comment like, gosh, this is the first time I'm doing a video interview, so please be patient with me, and that's certainly okay. Our organization is certainly going to be patient with you ourselves, and they're asking for patience at the same time. Okay, look directly into the webcam. So don't do what I'm doing. I actually have a dual system right here, so I'm kind of going back and forth, but try to make eye contact in the webcam. The other thing I want to just remind you, and I know this sounds silly, you guys, but at least top up, make sure that you're dressed professionally. So you might have your pajamas on the bottom, but just make sure that you're dressed professionally from where the camera is hitting you. Pick a clean, uncluttered background. So earlier today, I actually moved my laundry that was behind me, so you guys didn't see it. Nod and smile, and sometimes more frequently than you normally would, right? So trying to develop that connection and that authenticity through a webcam. Using your hands. So some people are more comfortable using their hands than others, but if you are, use your hands. Prop the laptop up. So, you know, I'm going to play with mine, but, you know, you can certainly move your laptop around to get a better view if necessary. Consider the lighting, and don't forget to test your connection. So typically when we schedule video interviews, we actually send you a link, and you can actually test that before, and most companies would do the same. And then if you've really never done it before, practice with a friend. So practice a video call or a video, whichever technology you have, Zoom, WebEx, whatever you'll end up using. Just practice with a friend. All of that technology is free, and you can download it for free. And then I'm going to actually quickly review something that may be non-traditional. I wrote this for a training class about 3 years ago, and I know this is going to sound silly, but this is a quick tip around what does your email address say about you? And many of us don't think about this. And I have to tell you, you know, it was me interviewing pharmacists when I worked in at Safeway, and part of my role with pharmacy recruiting and managing a team of pharmacy recruiters. I was actually in an elevator with a bunch of pharmacy students. They didn't know who I was, and they were talking about email addresses, and it got me thinking. And this is actually, you know, what I share with people. And I sometimes blast this out on Facebook and social media. But tip number 1, consider changing what's before the @ sign. So in your email address, if it's anything but your name or creative with your career, think twice. And I know that this sounds kind of silly, but things like country music fan, party animal, too hot for you, I really have seen it all in an email address. So tip number 2, consider changing what's after the @ sign. So this is the aha moment that I had with the pharmacy team. If you have a dated domain like AOL, and don't cringe everybody who has one, Hotmail or Yahoo, consider changing your email address. Your resume is not going to be overlooked because of an old AOL email address, but it can certainly leave an impression. For example, dated, not technically current or relevant. So if a domain is out of date, it can leave the same impression about you as a job seeker. Your email address should leave exactly that, a professional impression. So I will tell you, I had this old SBC Global email address that domain doesn't even exist any longer. I changed it, opened up, I still have it, but I opened a Gmail account.
Jamie,
and then not to affect.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Well, let me start by saying I think these tips are like absolutely on point. They're so important, and I'm so glad that you brought it up, because I don't know if you hadn't brought it up, I don't know if people would even really consider their emails.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we have enough time for
Yeah.
you to be able to just briefly just tell us just a little bit about if someone is interested right now who's looking for work and they're interested in applying at Gallo, where should they go to do that?
Yep. So Gallo is Gallo. So it's really careers.gallo.com, right?
Okay.
They have almost at all times at least 100 jobs. I'm going to be honest with you. It is for a salaried professional role.
Mm-hmm.
It is almost always a requirement to have an undergraduate degree at Gallo.
Okay.
If you want to get into marketing, you've got to have an MBA.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. Well, that's good to
Okay.
know.
For me, it's g3enterprises.com.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I'm going to give you, can I give you about 3 more minutes? So
Yeah,
that
I can quickly go through this.
Does that work?
Yep. So,
Okay.
So the other thing I'm just going to quickly say about your email address is just consider for job purposes only, because you and I all get a lot of junk mail. Open up an email address that you use just for job search purposes. Then you're not going to overlook. Everything's electronic, you guys. The applicant tracking systems and technology, unless it's a small company, all your automatic email notifications and updates are going to go to an email address. So consider a separate job email. And then very quickly, I think you've already heard about make sure you have a LinkedIn profile. Look, big employers like me, I pay $8,000 a year to get access to LinkedIn Unlimited so I can search and find people like you guys in LinkedIn. Make sure you have a LinkedIn profile. Minimum and preferred qualifications. I'm just going to share with you, minimum equals required. So if it says 2 years of finance experience required, that means finance, not logistics or transportation or nursing. You need to have finance experience. Preferred means we'd love to have it, but it's not required. Dress for the position you want to be in, not the one you're in. I will always say that. I know it sounds corny. Interview preparation, have a copy of your resume, and then write down some key successes. I can share this with you, and forward it to you guys later too. Do your research on the company. And then lastly, I just want to share with you the number one complaint that I have from hiring managers, no matter what company I worked for, is that a candidate did not have any questions to ask at the end of their interview. They get really offended that if somebody doesn't come prepared with a question. So make sure, even if you don't have any questions, make one up. And I always have some canned questions. You can Google questions, but make sure you have 1 or 2 questions. It makes you sound interested, engaged, and like you've done your homework.
So my name is Alicia, and I work for the Stanislaus County Office of Education. And what we do is, as an organization, is we partner with our local schools and the community to support quality education for over 100,000 students in our county. SCO, Stanislaus County Office of Education, serves as a link between 25 school districts and the California Department of Education. So I currently work as a human resources specialist in recruitment, and I'm a recent college graduate from Stan State. I recommend using EdJoin. That is our #1 platform for our recruitment system. EdJoin is a recruitment platform that's nationwide, and it's used specifically for education jobs. That's something that I never knew about when I was looking for jobs in college and getting out of college. It was something I never looked for. So it's very important because they do have entry-level positions, and they also have a lot of management positions, not just teachers. And that's what the misconception is about EdJoin. Right now, we currently are hiring for a receptionist in our Child and Family Services division, and we're also looking for an entry-level paraeducator at our MLA preschool right here in Modesto. Our application process is very thorough. It's the #1 tip I can give you as a recruiter is really follow the directions. It's a long posting. You see a lot of words. People get very intimidated thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to read through all of this, but it's very, very important that you read through all of it and the job description because like Jamie said, it tells you specifically right there what we're looking for. Minimum qualifications, 4 years accounting, 1 year of, let's say, human resources, maybe just a high school diploma. It will tell you right there what we're looking for and if you're qualified for it. During COVID, we have luckily been able to hire as normal. It has slowed down a little bit, but I wouldn't say that we have completely went on a hiring freeze, not at all. We've still hired all of our teachers. We still have hired paraeducators for the school year, and we're still currently hiring for different positions in IT, in human resources, in our business services department. So don't get discouraged because of COVID. I know a lot of places that are hiring. You really just need to look. And now places are even hiring specifically for web developers or software developers because they need people specifically to work on computer specific and related things. When it comes to following up on applications, specifically with Stanislaus County specifically for Stanislaus County Office of Education, we do employ over 1,000 people. So you could imagine that our jobs get over 100 applicants. I would say it's more difficult to reach out after an application has been submitted because we're not the hiring managers, we're just recruiters. So that information doesn't get relayed to hiring managers as they would in a smaller company. So researching your company when you're applying is very important, because I'd say if you're applying to a small company, somewhere that hires or employs less than 100 people, or a customer service position at Starbucks, at Target, 100% I recommend show your face, call HR, go submit a resume. Those things are very important in specific jobs or smaller companies. Unfortunately, for bigger companies or someone that employs so many people, it's more difficult to be more personable, but it's still possible. And when it comes to an interview, really listen to the questions that are being asked. It's very nerve-wracking when you're sitting by yourself with a panel of 5 people asking you a bunch of questions. You go back to your job description, go back to what you know, and really think about the questions that are being asked. Always refer back to your job description, because that is 100% what is going to get you employed and what a hiring manager and a recruiter is looking for.
Jamie, we appreciate you. Alicia, we appreciate you. This is really good information. It also instilled a great deal of, if anyone was doubting what it looks like right now with the job market, we're more inclined to listen to what the media is telling us and to hear all the negative aspects, when the truth is that, like I said earlier, there's a lot of people that are still looking to hire and positions are still there. So it gives hope for anything that was lost. I'm super excited to have Miss Joanna Esparza come and talk to us about turning your passion plus craft into a profit. And if I've seen anybody do that, I promise you, it is Joanna. I have never seen anybody can turn anything into something. It's impressive. And so she's going to share a little bit about how she does that with us. So we're about to get some good knowledge right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to see you today. I just want to share a few things with you today. I'm also the founder of She Became. So that's really a lot of how I was able to really find courage and just patience and resilience on how to start anything from the ground up, because She Became did start in the summer of 2016 and has just grown and got stronger over the years. And throughout this process, especially with COVID, I really learned how to turn things that I love to create or make into a profit. And I believe that the entrepreneur spirit just really has been something that's been a part of me, and that I know everyone also has, but they just have to search that within themselves. So I started working like at 15 years old, being a personal assistant with a real estate office, then started doing income taxes. I became a notary right at 18. I got my insurance license. So I've always had also the commission mindset and just working to get clients, building the communication skills, and really just learning how to work for myself or have that extra opportunity as an income besides a full-time job. So I do work on some projects on the side. They're not my main source of income, but perhaps one day they could be. So I became an author in the summer of last year. So here is a book that I wrote. It's also the story of how She Became was started, and it's also a self-help and professional book designed for young women and women. In this book, you will learn how to find your inner voice, your inner strength, and then really some of the key lessons that will help you build anything from the ground up. And I wrote this book myself. I was interested in just learning how to where can I edit my book? How can I publish my book? And if anyone knows me, I love to research, I love to read, and really DIY things. I love to do it yourself. And that's why I personally chose to self-publish my book through Amazon. And now that I publish my book through Amazon, I'm able to purchase it at an author price and then resell it as a retail price. So there is a profit there. On the books, however, I don't look at it as much of a profit because really, I mean, you make some money, but it's not enough. And it's really about the story behind the book and what you write. So if you write something or you create something that you know is touching someone, making someone feel happier or can change their life, that's really what it's about. Knowing that whatever I'm creating is actually going to make a difference. Also, I wrote a teenage book, and I also taught my 9-year-old daughter how to write a book. So if a 9-year-old little girl can do it with just a little bit of help and guidance, I know that you can as well. So if you have something on your heart that you want to write, I want to encourage you to learn ways of how you can do that. And so now my daughter also sells her book, and she's learning how to share her story, her voice, and her talent to make a profit. And during COVID, we also found ourselves with extra time. And both her and I learned how to make sugar scrubs, body butters, lotions, and then we also learned how to make candles. So we really wanted to make COVID be a positive experience for us instead of just a negative experience and always being home and for a 9-year-old losing those childhood friendships. So we did a lot of researching. I paid for courses on how to learn. I made a financial investment, and I learned how to make candles as well. So this is, we just experimented with purple lavender, but these have been selling. We have been sharing them with some friends, social media, and yeah, I mean, they're, like I said, they're projects, they're opportunities, and I believe that's what it's about.
Talking about, you know, how things have changed through COVID. Listen, there's something that all of us are great at. There's something that all of us are good at. And it's a great opportunity. You know, most of the reason why we haven't been able to try things or to step out of the box is because we don't have the time, right? And so what I think, if we really look at what COVID has done, and not just from the negative aspect, it has slowed us down a lot, where time is more of a precious commodity for us than just about anything. And so really, if you have things that you're good at, explore that. If you have things that you've always wanted to try or that you've always wanted to do, like, explore that, because you never know what can come of that. And Joanna is a prime example, right? By writing a book, as well as starting her company with their daughter. So there's a lot of things that come out of it. Well, folks, that concludes our time. Just want to take a quick moment and once again thank our special guest. We want to thank Nicole, and then more importantly, or just as importantly, we want to thank all of you who joined us this evening. We know that you could have been doing anything else, and you chose to come and spend some time with us to learn. I hope that you learned something this evening. You can reach out to She Became.